our community becomes more diverse every day.
Mm-hmm.
We now have a fairly large Chinese community.
Right.
The Korean community has grown quite a bit. Many people speak Farsi. We have a lot of people here now from India as well. So in the redesign of the website, one of the conversations was, how do we get information out to people who English may not even be their second language? So Chuck Holland and the IT department took that under advisement, and what they've come up with is that there is a Google Translator function.
Yeah.
So if you go to the homepage on the website, which you will see
Here it is
here, and if you scroll all the way to the bottom of the page currently, in the lower left-hand corner, it says select language.
Yes.
And if you click on that, you get your choice of simplified, traditional, Chinese, French, Hebrew, Hindi, Japanese, Korean, and Spanish. So that's now instituted. The goal now is to remove it from the lower left corner of this page.
Because it's a little hard to find.
Take it all the way back to the top of the page at the when you first. Right, so somewhere to the right of the Laguna Village logo, and to put it there.
Make it a little bit easier to find.
So we're hoping that that's going to improve communications for our residents who really don't have English as a second language.
And it's a great feature.
Yes.
And again, it's something that is done by Google. So, you know, all the different kinds of technology that's available today, and a lot of it is done by Google. It's just wonderful.
And Brad Hudson did mention at our last board meeting that there is a new Google Translator device.
Yes,
it's basically Star Trek.
Yes.
You put one on with headsets, I put one on, you speak in one language, I speak in another, and it translates instantly. So we're in line to receive one of those sets, so that in resident services, when people come in and they don't speak any English and they only speak Korean, any one of our resident services employees will be able to
that'll
have
be
a
interesting
conversation
to see
in real time. So yeah, I'm going to be really excited to see that, because it is the 21st century.
Yeah, it is.
The other thing I wanted to mention on the website is we redid the boardroom last year. Finally got it finished in July. And one of the major technological overhauls was the implementation of Granicus, which allows streaming of our board meetings in real time, and also to be able to go back and replay board meetings and have the agenda online. So that's now available. Again, from our website, if you go to the hamburger bar in the top right-hand menu there, and you click that, you go to Residents, and you go to Governing Boards. Right there, it says Granicus e-Government Transparency, and if you click on that, it will take you to a main menu. At the top, you'll see Upcoming Events, and then below you see Archived. If you click on United, for example, you'll see the past meetings there, and their dates, the duration. There's an agenda, and there's also the video. If you click on the video, a window will open with the meeting, which will roll, and there's a printed agenda on the right, and below are the items. So, for example, if you go to 13, New Business, Consider Members Meeting to discuss pickleball, and you click on that, the video will go directly to that time point. So you don't have to sit there and watch a 4-hour board meeting if you want to hone in on something. So that's up and it's active. And we're really hoping that people are going to take full value out of this, because board meetings are long. Some people work. Not everyone can come to a board meeting. And even though we do rebroadcast them on VTV, have to think about that for a minute, get rid of the old, and they are also posted on YouTube. This is a wonderful tool.
Yes, it is.
So kudos to staff for getting that done.
Very good. All right. Now, I know you had the M&C meeting yesterday, right?
Yes, we did. And it's the ongoing projects.
Right.
But there are a couple of things that I wanted to mention. First of all, in waistline remediation, we have been having some conversations within the board about whether or not we should be advancing the number of waistlines that we epoxy every year.
Yes, you
And
had
we
mentioned that.
Right, and we budgeted $1.5 million for this year, and that's the plan going forward. But we learned a few things from staff, which was that this program wasn't even considered until 2006. And it didn't start getting funded until 2011. So initially for 2011 through 2015, there was only a $500,000 budgeted each year.
Yeah.
Okay. And then in 2016, the board doubled it to $1 million. And then 17, we've gone to $1.5 million.
Okay.
Now, what we found is that in 2017, we didn't actually start any of the epoxy waistline projects until after April. It was almost May.
Right.
And in that time, we expect to get about 325 manners done. So Ernesto Munoz said, you know, I may come back to you in M&C and to the board next August and say, spent the whole $1.5 million. We've gotten it all done now in the first 8 or 9 months. Would you like to continue with the projects this year and get another 25% or 30% done? So that was brought to our attention, and that was pretty exciting, because I think it really demonstrates the kind of efficiencies and the professionalism we now have with the VMS staff.
Okay.
Things happen more quickly, on time, and that
So
would
next
require
year-
a supplemental
yeah,
appropriation. But you know, this does come from reserve funds
Right.
anyway. It's not out of the operating account, so it really shouldn't have any detrimental impact.
Right now, what are you looking at as a time frame to get them all done? If things were kind of done the way you perceive them to be.
The aggressive time frame could be 9 years.
Okay.
The current time frame, I believe, is around 12.
Okay.
Had the previous boards, when they considered this in 2006, started and not waited until 2011, we'd be 5 years closer to completion. But we're also, not only are we doing the main line epoxy lining now, we're also doing the interior lines of the units themselves. So it's much more work.
Right. You're doing both at once?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're not going back a second time. We're identifying the area and we're saying, do the entire building, let's clean it up and move on. It still is a reactive program.
Right.
It's not a proactive program. But yeah, that was some pretty interesting news. We do have, 1,124 buildings, and we have a little less than 700 buildings remaining.
All right. How long does it take to do one building? Now,
I don't know.
Okay. Well, what I was going to say, obviously, it varies how many manners, but let's say, it's 6 manners.
I'm not sure. I'll find out and get back to you on that. I do know that it's billed by a linear footage calculation, and then by the sizes of the pipes and the number of the connections for toilets or drain lines within a manor or whatever it is. But I'm not sure how long it takes from start to finish. I should know that, but thank you.
All right. Now, as far as other projects that are coming up, I know M&C is, the big ticket committee.
Yes. Surprise, we discussed lighting again.
Yes.
The issue that never goes away. And staff brought back the original report from 2010 that was done, that was very complete. And we reviewed that. And the outcome of this is, sometimes no matter what you do, you can't make everybody happy.
Right.
Some people would really like to have the community have much more light. Other people would say, you know, at night it's a nice residential area and I don't go out walking at night. It's not really an issue for me.
Okay.
Street lighting is a different story, which we're not in control of because the city owns all our street lights in United. So what the committee recommended was to recommend to the board to hire an outside lighting consultant to take a general overview of the lighting in the walkways of the United and see if they had any specific suggestions. And this would not be an expensive consultant. It would be something not to exceed $10,000.
Okay.
And the consultant that's being considered is the same consultant that Third Mutual has already hired and GRF has brought on board as well. So we'll have one consultant looking at all of the lighting for the entire community. I was surprised when I reviewed the 2010 contract that there were 3 different proposals that were in there, and some of them went from $5 to $10 to $20 million.
Wow. For
replacement lighting. And at the time, all they did was they decided to replace all the fluorescent bulbs in the walkway lighting with LED and raise them up about 6 inches. So, and I think that got done in a relatively short period of time and very inexpensively. So, but we're looking at that again. And I guess the biggest program that will be of interest to many people will be the handyman services. This has been under discussion for a number of months, and staff has spoken with Walnut Creek. We actually did have some calls, open calls with them about it, and they have a program there. So in the 2018 budget, VMS increased the number of staff in the maintenance division by a few people. So personnel are already in place to be able to provide a pilot handyman program, and it would be a little bit different in Third than it would be in United, because in United many of the things are already covered by the cooperative, because we own the buildings. But you know, the things that would come into key would be, you know, turning a mattress, replacing some light bulbs that you can't get up to the ceiling, or, you know, general things that would be there. So the concept is to have an annual program for a pilot at an initial price for, you know, a fixed amount, and that would allow the people who participate to get a number of calls per month. And but the key piece of this now is GRF, because GRF would be responsible for providing the truck and the tools. So they'll have to make an appropriation, and this will all come under, you know, conversation very quickly. But we're hoping to roll it out as a pilot program, and it should be a great service to the residents, because, you know, if you're single and living on your own, how do you turn a queen-size mattress? Who do you call? What do you do? Chargeable services? Well, maybe this program will go a long way in helping a lot of the residents with just very everyday kind of mundane tasks.
Yeah, that'll be great. So we'll see how that goes.